Biz on the track.
SB on the beat.
How you supposed to have light if you got solar missing? Everything seem bright with solar vision. Whole court and a witness, nobody know this missing. I'm my own judge, jury, and the co-defendant. It ain't an idol if it's solar image. Get to the core, my nigga, no pretending. Hotter than Jamie Foxx on a solar mission. Melchizedek, no beginning nor an ending. Ain't no need to study long if you gon' study wrong. Got me chasing the ghost with no lully bones. Blew a hustle anywhere but never hustle home. Mama prayed for his soul cause he ain't coming home. Watch you doctrine get demolished. Bluetooth pilots for YouTube scholars. I do for knowledge, not no stupid dollars. My new provider make them hoop and holler. In the lead for the light bringers, Illuminati. You ain't doing nada and blue ain't bother. Can't be rolling with you with no stupid MAGA. No Candace Owens, I don't do Kamala. Free flowing out this new Kabbalah. Lumen in the garden, hit a human olive. And you can get this stick with no soup and salad. Blue seek asylum on a Cuban island. My newest challenge is live a long life. Can't nobody live it for you, you gon' live your own life. Right place, wrong time, I'm in the valley where the bones dry. I prophesy till the bones rise. How you supposed to have light if you got solar missing? Everything seem bright with solar vision. Whole court and a witness, nobody know this missing. I'm my own judge, jury, and the co-defendant. It ain't an idol if it's solar image. Get to the core, my nigga, no pretending. Hotter than Jamie Foxx on a solar mission. Melchizedek, no beginning nor an ending. Wake up, Jacob, tell him it's urgent. Identify me by the blessings, never the curses. Walk on water, but I never submerging. You a goon on Zoom, but never in person. My verses merge with the ancient letters. My rating's good, but my rank is better. You soft as Wayne and baby's leather. If I bring my best, you can't do better. Local natives surrounded by the foreigners. The throne of David, the crown is Moorish. I can anoint the babies and crown the poorest. I'm rolling out, I found the forest. Lex told me keep a head and a leg up. Y'all rob with a tank at your head, bruh. Consul told Blue keep your bread up. Seen solar at the door like lead, yeah, I'm shooting for the top like Rick Berry. Sneaking baseline, trying to rip Paris. This is where your talking points get perished. Just to be a champion like Chris Harris. How you supposed to have light if you got solar missing? Everything seem bright with solar vision. Whole court and a witness, nobody know this missing. I'm my own judge, jury, and the co-defendant. It ain't an idol if it's solar image. Get to the core, my nigga, no pretending. Hotter than Jamie Foxx on a solar mission. Melchizedek, no beginning nor an ending.
Ryan, this is crazy.
Yeah. Watch. Y'all already know what time it is, man. Watch.
Tell them keep playing dumb like ain't nobody a witness. Swear to God on my mama. Everybody gon' get an eye. Everybody that's with them eye. Cause everybody I lit them eye. Keep playing dumb like ain't nobody a witness. Swear to God on my mama. Everybody gon' get an eye. Everybody gon' get an eye. Cause everybody I lit them out. Niggas can't stand on shit, we living stressed out. Finna get a medal of honor, we bringin' facts out. And you get stepped on every time you step out. You not a stepper where you from, you a step down. And stop reppin' where you from, you a let down. Can't be seen where you from, you keep your head down. That fat nigga mention my name, I'm breaking lead out. RIP another boss nigga, I think he bled out. He ain't gon' make it, I'm taking another head count. COVID so hot, I keep him from leaving beds out. Niggas self snitching on live, bringing the fans out. They the last nigga took a O talking about how he dead now. You don't know your life too short, that had me stressed out. Somewhere he took a wrong turn, I on the death route. Try the little boy yard blue, I bring the chef out. Put a whole drum on the 9, that bitch attack now. Keep playing dumb like ain't nobody a witness. Swear to God on my mama, everybody gon' get it eye. Everybody that's with him I. Cause everybody I hit them up. Keep playing dumb like ain't nobody a witness on my mama, swear to God. Everybody gon' get it right. Everybody that's with them out. Cause everybody I let them out. You can cry all you want, but I don't do tissue. So the guy you don't get through if you let blue get you. I put Nino on that mag, let my boo get you. Making Playboy moves with that new issue. When you surrounded by them snakes, you don't know who bit you. And that's the problem with you fakes, you don't know who hit you. And if I'm trying to make it shake, I don't care who with you. Call me Bruce MBD Sam, I got 2 pistols. AOI, a bunch of lanes, don't let that shoe fit you. And you better keep them tight, don't let that shoe fit loose. I can't miss, everything got shoe hit you. I ain't friendly, ain't shit, about blue been cool. And you know I don't forget I'm like an elephant. Ayo, and the eye really irrelevant. Assed out, and we know we lacking intelligence. Keep them out your circle before you regret you let them in.
Ryu, this is crazy.
Power to the dark side, family. Power to the dark side. Definitely want to appreciate everybody in the building. Everybody in the building. But real quick, I got to give a special praise to the most beautiful goddess of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, Stemia, whose image is the most beautiful Whoopi Goldberg. And now let me give a shout out to Al Capone, Power to the dark side. Appreciate you in the building, God. The First Lady, CB4. Appreciate you in the CB420. Appreciate you in the building. Solar Mom, definitely appreciate you in the building. Karai the introvert, definitely. Shout out to you. Miss Royal, what's going on? What's going on? Peace to you. Shout out to Westside Ryder in the building. And Miss Lakeisha, definitely appreciate you in the building. Right, so yeah, y'all already know what time it is. We got a few things we're gonna be getting into. Well, mainly we're gonna be actually a few videos, rather should I say, right? We're gonna kind of stay on topic, dealing with Roe versus Wade. I'm gonna get into a few videos that kind of led up to the situation that we have, a couple of debates that was going on, and then kind of get into, what we now kind of see today, right? So it's very funny. It's gonna be very intriguing to kind of see what happened. We actually find out that some funny stuff happened behind the scenes. Somebody couldn't hold water. Right? And that's why, when I always say that, a good plan, one person couldn't fuck up anyway. So I guess that this was one of those plans that one person couldn't fuck up. But whoever it was, they went on ahead and leaked it. But like I said, I kind of let the videos kind of do the talking, kind of guide us along. But for those of you who don't know, when you talk about Roe versus Wade, is basically dealing with the federal abortion bill, right? So I'm not gonna waste much time. Let me get into real quick. We'll start here. Yeah, we'll start here.
A landmark abortion rights decision is facing its most serious challenge in decades. After hearing hours of arguments today, the Supreme Court appears willing to uphold Mississippi's ban on nearly all abortions after 15 weeks. No exceptions for rape or incest. The court has a solid 6-3 conservative majority. A ruling in this case could significantly weaken Roe v. Wade or overturn it. Passionate protests outside the Supreme Court as justices ask questions and listen to arguments. Since 1973, Roe v.
Now, I want y'all to understand too where this is kind of going. You're gonna notice that this is something that kind of creeps out of the Bible Belt, right? So it's something that's kind of embedded in our heart. We can kind of say of most conservatives, and in a way, for most black people, this is a touchy subject, right? A very touchy subject. So So it's gonna be very interesting, like I said, to kind of see as we go along how far this is able to go, and what also kind of bills they kind of use the impact state by state.
Wade has essentially prohibited states from banning abortions before 23 weeks, the point of viability, and it established abortion as a constitutional right. Chief Justice John Roberts was once seen as a key swing vote. Today, he signaled he is open to a 15-week time limit for getting an abortion.
If you think that the issue is one of choice, that women should have a choice to terminate their pregnancy, that supposes that there is a point at which they've had the fair choice, opportunity to choice. But if it really is an issue about choice, why is 15 weeks not enough time?
Justice Sonia Sotomayor warning that overturning Roe v. Wade would make the Supreme Court appear political after 3 conservative justices were added to the bench.
Will this institution survive the stench that this creates in the public perception that the Constitution and its reading are just political acts? I don't see how it is possible. If people actually believe that it's all political, how will we survive?
Abortion has long been one of America's most divisive issues. In August, a poll by NBC News found 54% of registered voters in America believe abortion should be legal, always or most of the time. 34% said abortion should be illegal, with exceptions. NBC's justice correspondent Pete Williams listened to the arguments today. Pete, if the court upholds the Mississippi law, what would that mean for Roe?
Well, it would undercut the central holding of Roe, which is that states can't ban abortion before the age of viability. And if they say 15 weeks is okay, then that would undoubtedly unleash other states to try to restrict abortion or ban abortion shorter periods of time. And of course, we're still waiting for the court to say what it's going to do about the lawsuits against the Texas law that bans abortion after 6 weeks. But whether it explicitly overturns Roe or just upholds the Mississippi law and eviscerates the viability standard, it would be a momentous change in abortion law.
Yeah, no doubt. A lot of back and forth today.
So, of course, as you can see, one of the first things that they kind of do, it kind of cracks off in Mississippi. And this is a weird subject because, like I said, when we talk about this is something that I think is kind of embedded when we talk about most conservatives, whether black or white or whatever, in general. And then people who, you know, hold kind of religious backgrounds, independent. This ends up usually being kind of a touchy subject. Shout out to Gold Mine. Shout out to Azov. Power to the dark side. I appreciate y'all in the building. Shout out to Free Spirit. Definitely appreciate you in the building. So this is one that that usually kind of get stirred up. So I'm interested to kind of see what kind of, like, for them to pull up a poll that says 54% of registered. So they saying registered voters believe that. I kind of have a hard time because I would say the majority, or at least more than, yeah, I would say the majority or at least half of the voters are conservative. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say the fucking majority. Or somehow they just seem to hold the most. Like, for 34%, they hold a lot of goddamn power. That's all I'm going to say. They got to be holding a whole lot of power, right? But, it all depends. I guess it all kind of depends on how you look at it. So let's get into it.
Make sure that we get to tonight at the top, along with some expert help. I want to start with this map. This is where Republicans have full party control of state government. 22 red states, 22 Republican-controlled states across the country where the Republicans have control of the House and the state Senate and the governor's mansion. 22 of those. By comparison, Democrats have control over just 4.
Hold on, I'm gonna pause it real quick. I'll come back in. I'm just tripping. Shout out the hood there.
Where they
in the building. Hold
have
on, real
control
quick.
in the states. They're not moving anymore to limit abortion. They are moving to ban it altogether. Full stop. It's how.
All right. Mic check. Okay, cool. Yeah, this should work. Pick up right now. Let me see what's up. All right. Good. Cut off that down Bluetooth.
At the top, along with some expert help. I want to start with this map. This is where Republicans have full party control of state government. 22 red states, 22 Republican-controlled states across the country where the Republicans have control of the House and the state Senate and the governor's mansion. 22 of those. By comparison, Democrats have control over just 14 state governments. It's true that Republicans
Shout
didn't
out
get
to Juju in the building.
2018 midterms, but on the
That's what
same
I'm saying. 34%. That's a lot of power. Because most of them states is voting.
Country. And in practical terms, that level of state domination by the Republican Party is starting to have consequences for your rights. For example, a brand new total abortion ban in the state of Alabama. This new law that has now been signed by the state's governor bans all abortion statewide. A doctor who performs an abortion in Alabama would face up to 99 years in state prison. There was a big fight before it passed as to whether there would be any exceptions for women who became pregnant by virtue of rape or incest. The answer from Alabama legislature was no. Total ban. Except I should say the Republican sponsor of the ban, during last night's debate and vote on the bill, he did still seem to think there was one exception, but I'll have to let him try to explain to you what he thinks it was.
Does the bill make exception for patients who are a victim of rape? And of course, I kind of know the answer. Can you tell me why it doesn't?
It allows for anything that's available today is still available up until that woman knows she's pregnant.
Up until the woman knows she's Hold on, what? Maybe this is one of these things that's just easy to misunderstand. I mean,
Now, how the hell?
it sounds like the Republican sponsored the Alabama abortion
Hey,
bill is saying the woman will still be allowed to get an abortion in
is that
Alabama
a joke?
as long as she doesn't know she's pregnant.
So who gonna be
I
the
think
judge
that's
of
what he's
whether or
saying
not
here,
she
but
knows
that
she's pregnant?
is
I'm sorry, y'all about to
incomprehensible.
defend it. I
So
don't know what's up.
just roll that
Might got
part of the
somebody else
debate
later.
again. Say it again.
Does the bill make exception for patients who are victim of rape? And of course, I kind of know the answer. Can you tell me why it doesn't?
It allows for anything that's available today is still available up until that woman knows she's pregnant. So there's a window of time. Some say 7 days, some say 10. There's a window of time that every option that's on the table now is still available. So she has to take a pregnancy test. She has to do something to know whether she's pregnant or
Like,
not.
hold
You
on.
can't know that immediately.
Wait, bro.
Take
Does
some
he not
time
know
for
what
all those
options is on the table?
chromosomes and all that you mentioned.
What
It doesn't
happens?
happen immediately.
All those chromosomes
Chromosomes.
and all that. It takes some time for that voodoo that you do that happens.
My fault, y'all muted. Shout out to Michael Slade. Appreciate you in the building. So hold on, y'all. Wait. So all of the options is still on the table, y'all. I want y'all to know that all of the options is still on the table until the point that she knows she's pregnant. And his explanation, like when he goes into detail, this nigga started talking about some goddamn chromosomes and shit and the time it takes. What? He had no idea. Like some of these dudes, like this is like, and this just goes to prove, man. Like, come on, man. These dudes is idiots. They have, they running a foolproof system, yo. This is a dummy-proof system. It gotta be. There's no way any of these people is making any real moves. What did he just say? And then he was gonna go into biology and shit. Like he just, you know what I'm saying? No clue. Bro, if you're saying all of the options are available up until the time she knows, which would probably be about 7 days, we'll say about 14 days at, you know what I'm saying, or whatnot, then nigga, none of the options is on the table. It's like, are you joking? The morning after is off the table. We can knock that out. condoms is off the table. We can knock that out. The only other option is an abortion. And so when she goes in exactly to go and have this discussion with y'all, who is she having this discussion with exactly? On whether or not she knew and when she found out, and like what are we doing? Shout out to y'all, Daniel, in the building, man. I appreciate you, guys. Yeah, it's crazy, and you know, I'm not. Let me say this. I don't. Well, no. Yeah, I will say it. I'm not somebody who is for abort. That's not something that I'm for. Right? It's not something that I'm for. And that's why I say I think amongst Black people in general, and depending on how you kind of look at, you know, your viewing on spirituality and different things like that, I think sometimes we have a different opinion. But this just don't even sound right, man. Like, what are we doing right here? You know what I'm saying? It just, and this is a crazy situation. This is just a very crazy situation. And the excuses that are being used to justify it are even crazier.
Abortion in Alabama, as long as she doesn't know she's pregnant. I think that's what he's saying here, but that is incomprehensible. So 99 years in state prison. There was a big fight before it passed as to whether there would be any exceptions.
Hell no, you can't get abortion.
By virtue of rape or incest. The answer from Alabama legislature was no, total ban. Except I should say the Republican sponsor of the ban, during last night's debate and vote on the bill, he did still seem to think there was one exception. But I'll have to let him try to explain to you what he thinks it was.
Does the bill make exception for patients who are victim of rape? And of course, I kind of know the answer. Can you tell me why it doesn't?
It allows for anything that's available today is still available up until that woman knows she's pregnant.
Up until the woman knows she's pregnant. Hold on. What?
Oh, come on. I really can't right now with this dude. I don't even think who let him up there to speak? Whose idea was that? Like, who was he speaking on behalf of exactly? Because if this was supposed to be like making some sort of good argument or like having somebody that, like, first of all, why is the dude up there speaking? This ain't a good look, bro. That's a bad start. His answer showed how insensitive he was to the topic. It just really did. It really just showed how insensitive he was to the topic. And now, you can get an abortion. Everything is on the table up until the point that you know that you're pregnant. So I just want to know real quick. Shout out to Shayla, appreciate you in the building. Why exactly would you be going to go get an abortion if you don't think you're pregnant. Shout out to Terry Smoot in the building. Think about this. Why exactly would you be going to go get anybody be going to go get an abortion and they don't know if they don't think that they're pregnant? So what exactly is considered knowing? And so let's just say that's considered you take a pregnancy test. Okay, cool. You take this pregnancy test and now you know that you're pregnant. So now where do we go from here? So I can get an abortion. What is the no exactly? Does that mean I can get an abortion all the way up? Shout out to Who Raised You, Power to the Dark Side. Got preaching in the building. So this means that there's an abortion on the table if I haven't gotten a test. Now, so can I get can I get an abortion before I go and get pregnancy test? Is that possible? Are they gonna give me a pregnancy test? Where's the cutoff right here? Like I gotta kind of, I'm confused on that part. Like that's where I'm lost. So and I just want to make sure it's clear. He said everything is on the table, right? Everybody heard that? Every single thing is on the table. Everything is on the table, all the way up until the point of where she knows she's pregnant. I'm sorry, I gotta get a breakdown on what know means. What is knowing politically? And see, that's the thing. They have a lot of little slick concepts that they use, and who is in charge of whether or not you know? Anybody have an idea? Did I drop the link? Yeah, the link down there. Let's see.
Maybe this is one of these things that's just easy to misunderstand. I mean, what it sounds like the Republican sponsor of the Alabama abortion ban is saying here is that a woman will still be allowed to get an abortion in Alabama as long as she doesn't know she's pregnant. I think that's what he's saying here, but that the prosecution would have to prove that. So don't worry, Alabama woman who has just had a miscarriage with all of the attendant grief and terror and upset this has caused you in your life. Don't worry, if you've had a miscarriage, you'll be fine as long as the prosecutor can prove that you had a miscarriage. Guess how the prosecutor is going to prove it? Yeah, guess. The voodoo and the chromosomes. Who knows? That legal ban on abortion in Alabama passed the Senate last night. Tonight, the state's Republican governor signed it into law. This is the strictest abortion ban to pass the state legislature.
This is a total window. Like if I've never seen anybody fly, Shout out to Terry Smoot in the building. Appreciate you because I'm gonna try to refresh again. Let me get you in here real quick. What's good? What you got?
What's up, Blue? Shout out to you, Blue. You already know, long time subscriber. You already know. I just wanted to, if I could, I just wanted to try to chip in just in regards to what I've been following and what I know in regards. You know, I'm in a school district, and like, dude, with everything that's going on, like right now in society, you can see sort of like that they're playing political games. Let's be honest, because the Republicans do know that they do have a little bit of advantage coming up in the 2022 midterm. So, to be honest with you, they're going to be pushing a lot of these doctrines, a lot of what they already have a part of their base. Seeing how they're going to have they're going to have the House of Representatives and the Senate. So these are a lot of initiatives that are going to start being implemented, passed, and even put into a lot of schools. So I just want people to understand that we got to be prepared that this is what America is actually going to start to do. This is literally a part of their game plan.
Right. Shout out to Keisha in the building. Yeah, I think you definitely just hit on something on the head. Yeah, power to the dark side. Especially because you can see that they're kind of making a little, like a lot of this stuff is what they'll call a little political payback or whatever. You know what I mean? In a way, and they are kind of trying to go tit for tat on little things, and especially in the places. And this is a dangerous game with the people who be in the middle of these stupid games. You know what I mean? Because now, just think about what was just said. So now you get to a point where now you're gonna have to be able to prove a miscarriage.
Which is I mean, how can you prove that? Do I need the blood? Like, because I've dealt with that several times with girls, and they go to the bathroom, they have that hard pee, and then all of a sudden, like, do they need the blood from that? Like, like how do you prove that when a woman could push out a miscarriage? You feel me?
And he went straight out the damn window with it. Oh well, the chromosomes after several days. Yeah, what? What you don't know?
Are these people who are scientists or anybody in like that medical field that even know these, the ramifications? See, so this is all just an agenda in a sense. Am I right?
Every bit of it. This be the dangers of that Bible Belt stuff, man, because they don't even be thinking stuff all the way through. It just come out with some shit, and the culture of the country in general has this, this kind of Christian background or whatnot, and so they just stampede over people's human rights.
True, but I mean, if you do that, then what do you call January 6th, the insurrection? I mean, a lot of people are using religious terms. Remember, a lot of people are using all kinds of religious stuff in regards to that. But would that even be seen as terms of being in a form of religion or anything religious in a sense?
Yeah, that's who they making happy with this type of move. Is the people from a January 6th. When you think about like the people of like a January 6th and this and that, like the people who be spreading propaganda about us the direction of this country and they're leading us to hell and all of that. That like it's the same conservative rhetoric that you're gonna also hear on TBN and what I'm saying from Pat Olstein and multiple people. So they all kind of spill that same rhetoric.
So now religion has now been influenced and affected by political views now? Well, we know it has been, but now it's on the scale of where it is outright and blatant now, correct?
Facts.
And that's I just wanted to jump on the panel just to talk to you, just to let you know, like, and me, we're always on the same wavelength. Like I hope, and you've even noticed that these things are starting to become implemented, and they're going to slowly become ushered into America because look at what our leadership is. I just read something from Google News talking about let the Supreme Court overrule or overtake Roe versus Wade. They said that over 60% of Americans will disapprove of the Supreme Court. So that lets you know, like, You see what I mean? Like, and they already took a poll. A majority of Americans want to maintain Roe versus Wade. So, Supreme Court, how are you going against the majority of the people?
Yeah, bro. That is like, and see what's crazy about that is they were hinting, like that first video I actually showed was from like 7 months ago. They actually though started hinting back at it like 2 years ago or whatnot. No, I think actually that video I showed was from 2 years ago. The first one I showed.
Mm-hmm. So that means this has been something that they've been trying to implement, or that's something that's been on their docket that they wanted to push. Now that they feel like they got the numbers, now they can implement it and push that.
Right. And so it kind of plays a dangerous game. Like I get it. It's ways that, you know, we don't like, I get it. You don't want people aborting babies for any reason. You know what I mean? Just because. But it's like, at the same time, right here, this isn't the answer. You can't, now you're going to criminalize, like you force, like, because you got to think of who going to really suffer for this. You talking about having a lawyer that can prove this. Most black people, or most people who going to be in this situation is going to be poor people, and they're going to be dealing with a public pretender. So now you got a public pretender. Yeah, he finna have you plea out. It's either 99 years. Yeah,
now
you
my next
finna
thing
plea.
is, what about all these women where your health and your potential life, like if you try to go through with this, like some women have narrow cervixes. Like this baby that you try to pass could be a danger to you and your health. Like, so you know what I mean? Like, so do you even take in the woman's health at that point?
Man, this is
I had a scare with that with one of my family members, but she was able to have her daughter, but they told her, they said that not personal, family things like narrow cervixes, things like that. Like those are, you know what I mean? Like, come on now, where was that white dude talking about, certain things with other women? Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes, you know what I mean? Like not every woman's gonna be able to, like, I know they want to try to, and I honestly, you know what I honestly think it is, Blue, and I'm gonna be dead ass with you. I think this is because of what they found out in regards to a lot of the birth rates here in America. Because if you do know, or if you follow certain other channels, you'll find out Black people and Hispanics, we have no problem. We're at 2.7, 3.1 and more. That means we're having 3.1 to around like 2.7, 2.8 children per Black woman, meaning we'll be around for centuries. It's the white women and the Asians. They're at 1.7, 1.8. They're out of here. They're literally out of here, like Blue. Literally, like within maybe, I think they said like 2080, 2100. If the numbers keep going the way they are, we might literally, or within our time frame, we might literally see the last pure white birth, like of two white pure Europeans. We would literally be able to see that.
I remember France did that, because I think France had stopped having children and they was only accepting like foreigners too. So I think it's like they got like 4 more years or whatever.
Greece is Greece and a few other of those European countries. A lot of the European countries are fucking finished, like Estonia and all them. You have all these white women out there, but they're only having 1.7 children. It takes at least 2.3 to 2.5 to continue on for centuries. And they're not producing. You might have some, like you get some NFL players, like they might have 8 kids, but look at the common man. You feel me? They're common people. No way. You know what I mean? That's why you get people like Young Thug coming out 2 days ago, this week, talking about if you poor, you shouldn't have children. But what the fuck, nigga? What do you mean? You came from a poor background, nigga.
And that's ridiculous. And that's where it becomes. That's why I say it gets dangerous. Like, and you can kind of hear some of that kind of Kevin Samuels rhetoric playing out, because what he basically saying is that you already have no value, and you finna bring in things that are only going to take that also don't have no value, and you're gonna also have to be taken care of. And so they looking at everything as what's valuable and what's not, what makes money and what doesn't make money, what's an asset and what's a liability. And so when they look at people having, they already look at now, because you got to think about it. Like now, in the way that niggas is talking, it's like women is a liability, kids is a liability, and fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like in general, it's like, damn, bro. You know what I'm saying?
No,
and it's like you can't spread that type of shit, bro.
I feel you 100%, Blue. Shoot, I'm right with you. That's why I wanted to mention what Young Thug said, and I'm like, dude, you came from a poor community. Come on, I'm talking about you from Zone 5 and everything else like that. But then all of a sudden, you weren't growing up in the best of everything. You weren't in Buckhead. You weren't out there. Come on now. But then all of a sudden, now you come into some money. Now you want to be bougie. Like you can't do that, knowing that you just forgot your whole upbringing. And so now, like, and that's why I said, like, right now, to be honest with you, Blue, to me personally, I understand the Roe versus Wade. I think it's stupid. And if the Supreme Court wants to get abolished, they overturn this and see how bad, because I think this will be a popular vote. And they already said over 63% of Americans do not want this overturned. So how is the Supreme Court going to supersede and go over what the populace is voting for? It don't make no sense. It literally don't. So at this point, Blue, this is an agenda that these Republicans are pushing. I hate to say it, it's only because the Democrats are losing. And hey, man, you're not going to give us reparations. You don't want to do shit for black people. This is unfortunate. I hate to say this is what the consequence is. And us, we're going to be affected by it because you know, we're not getting no reparations or anything. These people have been utilized our votes and everything else like that. But at some point, like, this has to be a wake-up call even for the Democrats, because they have to take this L. So it's so political, and now shit, Blue. I'll put it like this: we should thank God that we're allowed to witness these times. We're watching the literal destruction of America from inside.
Okay, then. Real quick, we got the House of Mbutu, I believe, in the house. Is this correct?
Hey, yeah. How are you?
Peace. What's going on? How you doing?
Hey, peace to you, Terry. Peace to you, Blue, and to the chat and mods and everybody. I just want to get my 2 cents in, real quick. I'm glad that a brother is talking about this. So sure. I know for sure that this is really not our fight, meaning people of color, like POC. And what I mean by this is that this is a perfect time. So like what Terry just said, this is a destruction of the paradigm that we've been living. We've been living under the WASP, so WASP, patriarchal system. Like us, black people, whatever you want, Hebrew, whatever term you want to use, people of color, we've been living under their system, especially on this land, right? And so paradigm is shifting. And so if anybody knows anything about like the astrological world, like this, like Pluto's in retrograde. So, but anyways, and so we know times are changing because that's the only thing that's.
Are you talking like astrological? Are you talking astrological, like the age of Aquarius, the age of Gemini, like those kind of things?
Kind of, a little bit. I try not to get into it because a lot of people are not really into it.
You're gonna have to break that down. I'm into it.
Here's the thing. We're into that. Here's the thing, Queen. We're into that. Like, just to let you know, we are into that. Like, we would never.
Okay, I try to test my feet out. Like, okay, I gotta test the water because I gotta see what kind of language I need to use. But okay, thank you for the invitation. So yes, we're in Pluto retrograde, and that's in both systems of the Western tropical and also the Vedic sidereal. If you're black or whatever term you want to use, person of color, I highly recommend you go to Vedic because that's more our astrological. The Westernized is really not ours. That's more of the Greek and Roman, but we could do that at a different time. But anyways, so Pluto is change, right? It's rapid change, it's rebirth and transformation. It's in retrograde. So that means everything that is not on solid ground, everything that is not of the highest good is completely crumbling down. So collectively, America's system is crumbling down right now. So if we're going to talk about Roe versus Wade, and I agree with the brother. Thank you so much, Terry, for bringing that up, because I have been studying people of color, especially women, like our studies and where do we fit in it. And so like right now, the Hispanic culture have a highest sterilization case against white doctors because a lot of the immigrants come over here, obviously not knowing English. And so when they have babies or when they get tested, the women get tested, have to do their womanly, you call it, not inspections, but routines at the doctors. They don't know that they're signing that to be sterilized. Black African-American women, we're the second in lead. Why? They're trying to sterilize us because the brother had it right, because we have the highest population.
They want your internal organs too, because that certain times with them, like even if the blood matches, some of the organs don't work like our organs do. Why do you think like a lot of the surgery keep going on? It's just
so that's why they harvest. That's why the CPS and the foster care system is horrible, because not only is it for human sex trafficking, but they know because of our people, our organs, especially the Hispanic and Latino culture, we have the best organs, like he would say. So that's another topic. But anyways, but here's the thing. I encourage, because on both sides of my family, I have women who were herbalists. Like some of them call them shamans, some of them call medicine women. On my dad's side, we have Haitian blood. His grandma, so my great grandma, she was full-blooded Haitian. She was the town medicine woman. And so I get downloads upon downloads of how to heal exactly when it comes to herbs. So I'm gonna put you guys on some game, and I really encourage women to know, this is where we get to step into our sovereignty. This government is not for us. It's never been us. So watch watch the stuff crumbling down. So neem, Neem, it's an herb, and it's mostly from India. Well, it is India. It's an Indian herb. Excuse me. And that is one of the best type of birth control you can have. Women and men can take it, and it that is a form of birth control. It's an herb. Red raspberry tea, you can take it if you do not want to get pregnant. It thins the walls of a woman's uterus. I know I'm getting a little graphic, but we're big kids, right? And they give it to women, the tea, when she's contracting, so she can have an easy birth, right? And so if you do not want to get pregnant, that is one way you could do. So this is where our ancestors are literally speaking through us to become sovereign. We don't need them to tell us what to do with our bodies. I'm an African woman, so I'm going to take the herbs. Well, let's go before that. How about we start to heal so we don't attract the mates that we don't want to have babies by,
That's impossible.
And then
That's impossible, Queen. That was my only thing, not to cut you off. My only thing is it would be impossible for us to heal as a people when we've been so indoctrinated, immersed, and integrated in society to where we want to interracial marry. We want to be with these other people. Now it's an agenda. No, I was just saying because look at
but you can heal on an individual level.
Yeah, thank you.
That's where you got us do it.
Now here's the thing. And I understand you guys. I only want to pull out one fact, only one thing. And it's only because I go around a lot of boxing and MMA channels. And so one thing they tell us is in regards to pay-per-view numbers. And now we know pay-per-view numbers are always cooked, but when it's a what they call a white man in a suit, whenever they come on screen and whenever they say numbers, everybody believes it as fact. Am I right? When you could have somebody look good with the suit and everything, we'll take whatever they say as fact. So my only thing is just because our community, we're influenced by, we're not really privy to the numbers or shown the numbers. We just believe what's told to us. Am I right?
Yes, and that's where I believe that we need to have more discernment. Maybe we just need to unplug. I've unplugged. I mean, but what Brother Blue was saying is that that's an individual. I mean, Ubuntu, right? So Ubuntu means I am because we are. If you look at astrological, what's the first house? It's the I am. It's the Ram. So in order for us to be collectively the Pisces, in order for us to be we have to do it individually. So maybe that's what we need to do. Maybe eventually we have to unplug. We have to fast, whatever that looks like. We have to really, is it called decondition, unprogram ourselves, knowing that obviously, like you said, they're not going to give us the full facts. They're going to give us this roundabout way. So this is where I really believe our ancestors are telling us, are telling us to start thinking sovereignty, to start thinking for yourself, to start having, like another sister was saying in the chat, which I agree, self-control. We know that sexual perversion, sexual immorality is like a high in our community, and that's on purpose. That's our creativity, right? That's
Thank you.
that is our life force. I mean, but it's been perverted, and if and we've been traumatized. Like our ancestors were unfortunately molested and raped, and that's still within our blood. I mean, that's science, right? That's STEMIA, that's science. Science is telling us that there is trauma, generational trauma, and that one of it is sex. And so we have to heal that. Like that's our primal like instincts and urges. Sex is beautiful, sex is great. Are we using it for our highest good? No. So what do we need to do about it? And it doesn't matter what paradigm that you think. I don't care if you're Muslim, what do you call it, a Black Hebrew, an African spiritualist. It's all the same. It's all the same. They talk about like to be pure when it comes to sexual, like what are you doing with your sexual life force? And I know and here's another thing, a lot of people don't know, like people think that abortion is just like, or not abortion, kind of abortion is just a Christian thought and thing. But if people really like sit down and study like African spirituality, like I know I have really, really good girlfriends who are actually high priestess in the Ifa, and they tell me all the time, and they're starting to tell us millennials and the Gen Zs, it's like if you're Heterisha, if you're the daughter of Yemaja, how you want to pronounce it, or Oshun, we are forbidden to abort our babies. Like that's the gift that the Most High has given you. Like you're able, and that's the way that our ancestors are able to go back. But I'm just like, it's just people like, that's the surface area, right? It's just to look at like, oh, it's the Christians, but it's for their people. Even I like in we call it in YouTube world right now, there's Black women who talk about like, oh, this is an example of the Handmaid's Tale. And I read the book and I watched the series and actually led like a small class with the youth girls about the book. And it's like, it's still at the end of the day, when you dissect it, it's for their people because they are trying to sterilize us. They know, like you said, Brother Terry, they know of our organs. They know of our blood. They know that our essence heals them. I mean, this is corny of that movie, Get Out, but there's so much bloody truth in it, right? So what we have to do, Black people, is to heal and to know how to abstain from sex if you do not want to have a child. Like, and there's ways to do it. If you're allergic, if you don't want to be on the pill, because some of us women, we are allergic to chemicals, you take neem. Again, N as a Nancy, E-E-M as a Mary. And that has been proven. Look it up. If you have Indian friends from India, that is one of their staples. And so there's ways that we can be sovereign around us. And that's what I just want people to realize. Is like, we can empower ourselves. We don't need these others to tell us what we need to do. And so as the shit is crumbling down, this is where we get to rise up, right? The Phoenix rising. So that's just my 2 cents. I'm sorry, but that's it.
You're rocking out, Queen. Go ahead, man. I think we have a new queen up in here.
Yeah, that was definitely fire. Shout out to, is this Juju? Shout out to Juju in the building.
Sorry, that's my
appreciate you. You definitely got the floor.
With her, but I mean, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I'm like on both sides with it because I feel like abortions really should just be for circumstantial reasons. I really feel like you have to have an abortion. It should be something like for serious reasons or, whatever personal reasons you have going on, but it shouldn't be used carelessly. Like self-control is very important. And if you know that person's not capable of taking care of that baby, you don't need to be sleeping with that person, period. Like a lot of us Black women, I notice, like, we don't have self-control. Like, we feel like we need somebody. Even after we break up with our ex, we have to jump to another person. Like, we need to take time for ourselves and really spiritually get ourselves correct. because there's no reason why the number should even be that high for abortion rate.
Yeah,
Well,
I think
remember,
definitely.
I was
No,
gonna
go
say,
ahead. You got it.
statistically, not trying to even be mean or denigrate my sisters or anything, but I believe they say that Black women lead America worldwide in regards to abortions, and that's why one statistic I always say is that a lot of numbers, they say that what happened out there in China, I think China had 40 million abortions because that was forced. What we did to our own stuff, we would have already been taken over America. We're already 45 to 50 million abortions in. So for our community. So do you not know we could have been like 80, 90 large, like 90 million large here in this country if we would have just, but that's something within our community. I mean, that's why they're still able to say we're only 13%.
Yeah, definitely. Real quick, let me shout out a few people that came in the building. We got Ghost came in the building. Shout out to you. Shout out to Angel. Appreciate you in the building. And Kofi Hill, definitely. I see you on the panel, brother. You got the floor.
Oh, King Kofi. What up, Kofi?
What's going on?
No, you got the floor. You got the floor. Go ahead and speak. Yeah, you got the floor. Go ahead.
I was just over here listening to this other panel. You know what I'm talking about, but I think this is like somewhat like, I think this somewhat like karma or something, man. Because like all these months I've been hearing these women say Black men try to tell Black women what to do with their bodies. It's the Black man's fault. Even this shit right now is the Black man's fault over there. But who is the motherfucker telling you what to do with your body right now? The white man, the same motherfucker you be talking about running to. So I say as a people, man, we fucked up. And what they doing is they dividing us even more. The abortion thing ain't even about black or black men or black women. It's about them not having the birth rates that they had. So what they trying to do is slow that. Yeah, they trying to slow that shit down. It ain't about us. It ain't never been about us. And until we come together and figure that shit out, we ain't gonna be shit. We sitting around bickering with each other when a motherfucker has got their foot on our neck. And it's a shame. And that's all I came to say, bro.
But remember, Kofi, we allow Jack Harlow's in our congregation. We allow Pete Davidson's in our congregation. We allow everybody. Oh, I'm cool with Black people. Not like you Black, but we allow you to deal with us, deal with our women, offspring with us, and then they show their true colors. So we would have to tighten everything up, which you would have to say, correct?
And and I think as Black men, we have to do better and show our Black women that we ain't no punks. Like, it's time. It's motherfucking time. Because I'm going to tell you, if I watch you get your ass kicked for the last 5 years, nigga, am I going to have any faith that you won't get your ass kicked? No. So that's all they've been seeing. But it is time for Black men to do something. Like, that's crazy.
Well,
we looking bad out here, yo.
Well, for starters, marriage rates could definitely go up. I'm just saying.
I mean that I agree with that too.
Kofi, don't make me do it. I'm the leader when it comes to marriage. And you know this, Blue. What do I always say? And you know what it is.
Listen, there's some points that I feel like.
Let me say this for the queens. I want to say this for the queens. For the queens, just to let you know, when it comes to Black men, whenever we marry, over 85 to 90% is with you guys now because of what this new generation is. They sort of dirtied our numbers because we were in the high 90s. So now we're in the high 80s now.
I wasn't blaming you men completely. All I was saying was both genders, it's like we be pointing the fingers. And we're both not controlling ourselves because you got men who sticking it in women they don't want to be with, but getting them pregnant. Correct. And then you have women complaining about that dusty, but you having their baby. So we're creating dysfunctional families over and over and over again. Like, when is that gonna stop? Like, we both need to learn self-control, the women and the men.
That's the major issue is that.
But
real quick, and that's
go ahead.
No, actually, go ahead. No, actually, you go ahead. You go ahead. I'm gonna go right
just
now.
gonna say, you have to look at this shit from a generational level, man. We was brought over here to breed. That's just facts. And so,
Yes, I'm glad you brought up the generational thing because I would love to speak on that when you're done, please.
Go ahead. That was just my point.
No, it is a generational thing, Sophie. Like, I thank you for bringing that up because here I am. I'm like I said before, I'm a millennial. Like, I'm in my early 30s, so I guess I'm like the mid millennials. And what I keep telling this to Niame all the time is that the older woman, and I don't want this to make a generational war, but it's just an observation, is that our aunties and our moms, they really drop the ball. I give them grace, I give them mercy, I give them compassion, and I give them understanding, empathy, excuse me, because they did the best with what they had. Here's the thing, like a lot of these movements, as a Black woman, I call them the master slaves' daughters. That's the paradigm thinking of their ways. We have to understand, you have to sit and watch people because they always tell on themselves, right? So these older women, they are still under the paradigm of the white wasp or the wasp patriarchal paradigm. That's their thinking. So they're telling us, oh, don't have these Black men babies. But oh no, I'm so mad because the white man that we want to divest with, they're trying to tell me what to do with our bodies. So it's like this. I'm glad that it's showing light because it's like, okay, mom, okay, aunties, okay, big sisters. Obviously, you haven't done your healing. So this is exposure of the older generation. They're not healing. So here we are, the millennials and the Gen Zs. We don't know what the frick we should do as a collective.
Well, I'm glad to hear you. I'm glad to hear you speak like you speaking right now. I'm very glad to hear that.
Can I interject only because but we got to understand, like, with that generation, that's where my parents are from, and just to let old girl know, if she was born in the 80s or 90s, you're before the millennials. Millennials are 2000s, so you're my generation. You're Generation Y. We're right before the worst of the generation, so we're the last of the best. You, me, and Blue, we all the last of the best. So, but regards to what all
we 90s babies, bro.
I was born in 80. I was born in 88, but I was born in 88. But I don't remember. I'm an 80s baby. I was 80s baby. Hey, I was just in there before the decade. I'm in there just before the decade. I'm an 80s baby.
Girl, 88, you are the dragon, no.
we just there, but right before the decade ended. Dude, shit, we were in there from Magic One. But no, like what I was saying is, when you look at that generation before us, our grandparents, everybody else, look at what they went through. Meg Grabbers, Carly Stoke, Carmichael Stokely, like they went through all that shit. They went through the real racists, like the what is it? All that stuff in the the Arkansas 4 women or the 4 girls that got burned in the church. They went through that. Like now, I mean, look at what we went through in the 90s. Yeah, you stick some dogs on old boy. What was his name? The LA riots. You know, you stick the dogs on him and everything else like that. But it was coming out of a way different time when niggas were doing bus. Remember, they were doing the whole. They were segregating for buses and everything. The tears went down, even though the racism.
Terry, I think the crack era was just as bad, bro.
The 80s, 90s was bad. The 80s, 90s
that destroyed the family right there.
Yep, it did. We all know that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I grew up, and so then like we grew up with parents, with one parent who was an addict. So we were the typical, if you know psychology, we're both the oldest and we're both the hero child. That's like that's common in the Black family, and it's just like okay, the generation. So I encourage millennials and Gen Z Black women to heal, to really heal in the emotional deep level, and that's through our wombs. I mean, science has been proven that a woman's womb holds, like we're already in our grandma, you know, because of the eggs, and science has been proven that. So it's like. And like we just have to heal so we could do better, or so we can progress forward. And we have to realize we have to start thinking for ourselves. Like the abortion is not healthy. It's not the greatest. It's just not. Yes, there are instances and circumstances like incest or like rape. Yes, but there's other ways how. There's other ways to get that method. It does not have to be through their ways. There's a saying, there's a quote that I like. It said, you can't dismantle the master's house with the master's tools. So here we are, Black people, we're trying. Our ancestors, I give them all respect and I love them. And it's just like any science, like math equation. You go over it and you figure out what they did wrong so we can find a different way. So obviously the way that they do abortion is not the correct way. So if God forbid, if I get grape and I am with child, there are herbs, there's different medicines that our ancestors had shown us. So this is a wake-up call, not trying to be corny, but it's like, remember who you are. Like Sankofa, you go back in order to go forward. So we have to step out of this silly ass paradigm that is collapsing, and we get to rise up and we get to create the spaces that we want to. And for the people who are not awake, that is okay. That's fine. But for the rest of us, it's like, sister, brother, wake up. This is not our fight. No offense, just like the Russia. That's not our fight. It really isn't. But my heart goes out to those mothers as a mom, as a sister, but that's not our fight. That's the old paradigm that needs to collapse as it is. So what us Black people, what people of color, what do we need to do? We need to get together. We need to heal. And we need to help each other out, regardless what your freaking ideology is. It's called coexist, people. Coexist. It's fine. Like, we can do it. So,
stop running around here like goddamn kindergartners.
No, I think, and that's like one of the major things that I don't think is talked about enough in a lot of these different discussions. Is we talk about individual relationships from a collective standpoint, and then we try to talk about how do you solve it. No, your individual situation is solved on the individual level, and so the only way you're gonna solve that is you gotta go in and fix yourself. Like, if you don't find a way to, like, and that's when I talk about, going into that dark place and finding that, the things that is making you mad and uncomfortable and angry and sad, whatever that is, and being able to conquer that. Like, that's the first part before you can even start making friends with people outside, building different relationships with people outside, even having intercourse with people. Like, any of that, you're gonna have to find exactly who you are first. And that's like when you talk about like a past, or like the different ways that we even got initiated into societies in general. It was like, even a part of, in our cultures, a part of getting your name was a part of knowing who you were, right? It was like becoming who you were first, and then getting your name, and then living up, now continuing to live up to that. And I think that's a major issue. And I think a lot of people don't want to go there. And instead we want to continue to try to find love in all of the wrong places. And we want to point the finger in all of the wrong places.
I'll put it like this, Blue. I would see it more as a societal thing. Let's just look at what's going on in society. You got a person named Kanye West that all of a sudden he just went through a divorced marriage or whatever like that. And what did Kim K and everybody else do? He's over here dating all kinds of other supermodel, Victoria's Secret models. She's over here about to get married to fucking Pete Davidson. Like, you can't take the sanctity of marriage or unity serious in America, because it's sold out. It's not even true. Like, that meaning and what it meant back then is not what it means today. I mean, I can go on everybody who I went to high school with, graduated in 2006, everybody else like that. And I could tell you so many of my class members that married each other, that are divorced, now hate each other. Like, we don't take none of this sanctity and all this stuff. Like, we take it for show. It's all for show. So we're never gonna, like, until society really has a meaning and they actually uphold these things, it's going to go down generation by generation by generation. Why do you think now I can listen to music and everybody talking about my baby moms? I got two kids by this woman. We don't take this shit serious. We don't. So I mean, the lady who was speaking earlier, she is right. But it's just that it's society, And us as Black people, we're so tied in and connected to society. We want to be everything else like this, but they're running us in society. You know what I mean? So it's like a catch-22.
I think that's a little different because I could be, I know for my energy and my personality, and I meet other people, is that I never really, some of us are just not into society. Like we're the oddballs, the outcasts. And so like I had one of our children at home, unassisted and unmedicated, and it was the most beautiful experience I have ever encountered. And she's a healthy baby. She's one. I mean, and so she's like the second to the last baby. And so because when I was on social media, before I took my social media breakout, I told people that, and women from all walks of life, like the Hebrew, there's some Hebrew women, there's some Nation of Islam women, just women who were like, that is so encouraging. Like, I love that strength. And it's like, why did you choose to do that? It's because I know what they're doing to us in the hospital. So it's uncomfortable for some people to be like, to go against the grain. That's it. That like what Blue said and what we were saying is like that's an individual thing. Like some people do have that energy where they're like, no, I don't want to go against the grain. And that's fine. But then there's the rest of us. It's like, okay, let us show you the way. Like Blue's family and our family, we homeschool our kids. Like I've been doing it for the past 7 years. And I like when people ask me all the time, like I will effing refuse. Like I would rather, I don't know, play with like poop than I would ever send my
Queen. I'll put it like this, Queen. I'm a substitute teacher. If you ever need anything with lesson plans or anything like you and Blue, I'm a substitute teacher. I can give you anything that'll help you out because I've been an advocate and I've been pushing for our children, African American children, Black children, even people of color. I've been pushing for us to be homeschooled because notice how reports came out, and my apologies to cut you off, Queen. I just wanted to say this out because I'm a substitute teacher. I got all the stats. Like you notice how a lot of people of color parents, they're actually more accepted. They're actually more acceptance and receptive to having their kids be taught, over the computer, like a Zoom call or a Microsoft Teams meeting, rather than, their children experiencing other kind of things at school, in regards to their children while they can just be right here. That's what a majority of people of color had been saying. I was only wondering, is this going to be the new norm in America? Because this really, I don't think this would be much of a detrimental or a hurt towards the Black community as much as it would be towards the other communities. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. And I heard you. Sorry, I was on mute because of the children. No, I agree. And like with the homeschooling thing, because I have 2 boys who are that are very Mercury influenced. So if you know anything about Mercury, that's like Gemini, and they have heavy Gemini and Sagittarius placement. So they're extroverts. They love people. And so I think I encourage people to think outside the box, because what you said, Terry, was perfect. When we go to public school, we're not trained to think outside the box. Like before I was a parent, I was a counselor in the social services as well. I was a counselor / like assistant teacher, and this is all in North California, so Sacramento. And so this scene
you ain't that far from me. I'm only 6 hours south from you, so you ain't that far from me.
Well, we moved. We're in the South now, but
Oh, okay. I'm in Southern California, Long Beach. So my bad.
Yeah. Oh, that's where I have family in SoCal too. So if we ever like visit family, I'll ask Niame to like holler at you so we could all get together. That'd be awesome. But what I was saying is that my thing is that I just encourage people to think outside the box. So this is why I like Blue's channel. You think outside the box. That's what Dark Side is supposed to be, right? With Kofi, with Niame, it's supposed to be thinking outside the box. And that's a little hard because we're so programmed. And so I get that all the time, like, oh, your children need to be socialized. Well, wait, first of all, I have 5 of them. And second of all, like, I'm not good with like STEM. Like STEM meaning engineering. My 7-year-old, he's phenomenal with it. So what I do is that I found a homeschool co-op where they go a few times a week, and then I'm able to find, we call it a mentor. That's what it all was. When we were, some of us who claim, who know our African roots, like I'm an African, I'm proud to say it. I know some people who want to be Israelites, that's fine. Like, I'm like, don't disrespect me. I won't disrespect you in that area. So I know that my roots, my bloodline, it was all about communal. Yes, I can't be everything for a child. But now, because of the sacrifices that our parents and our foreparents, you know, our ancestors, what they did, it's like we have the tools to do it. So to me, it's thinking outside the box. And now, like,
we got to find ways to do it now. New ways to do it. New ways, not the same ways.
Yes, we live in the age of Aquarius. Is that you? Like, we have online. And so I always like go to people with, what's it called? I'm part of the organization Self-Directed Learning. And so there's a few of us, you know, POC people in it. And so I'm a huge advocate. It's like, if you really want to make a wave, make a change, we have to do it in community. We always do. And there's always a way. And I know it's hard for people, and that's a programming that a lot of people still have to heal and still have to undo. But it's like, no, there is a way. Because I've helped many parents who thought that I can't do this. There's no way. No, there is. There's a way. Especially now with COVID, that we have COVID and stuff. There's a lot of ways to go around it. And this is what, like I keep saying before, you go behind, like you, like I said before, the paradigm is shifting. A lot of stuff is collapsing. So this is where us POC that we need to capitalize on it. So I know we talk a lot, Blue, and I'm sorry for straying.
No, y'all are good.
No, you're good. You can keep going, Queen. You can keep going. We have no problem with this.
This is Blue, so I apologize. I didn't mean to do all that, but it's
no, because actually,
you're a queen. You're a queen, sis.
What?
Come on.
But not only that though, just, you know, in general, the direction you was kind of going, you know, I always kind of end up in that direction anyway. I've been kind of trying to I actually was going to ask you to kind of go in a little bit more, like onto how these houses is kind of like kind of give you an idea of not only like the times that we in, like how you was bringing up Pluto and the connection between the first house, and then also, you know, the connection between like the energy that we can kind of see playing out in general.
Okay. Well, okay, so I would advise you guys, if you're into astrology, to go look up to like your natal chart and see where Pluto is in your house, because that's going to affect you on a personal level. And you could do that. I go to astroseek.com. It's free and you could save it. But actually, I do this as a side business. Like, I created this method of where I go to schools, public schools, and also homeschool co-ops, where I teach the teachers and the parents how to do social and emotional learning when it comes to for the children, because we all have the same needs but different strategies. So like I said, I have two boys who are their learning style is heavy Mercury. And Mercury is fast-paced, it's quick, it's easy. If you know anything about the planet, one of them is in Gemini, the other one is in Virgo. So it's a little different, but it's the same. So technology is huge in our house. Like, I have so many great resources when it comes to, we call it like apps, because like my 5-year-old taught himself how to read on his own. Like, when he was 3, he just taught himself how to do it. The other one, he's an engineer. He was coding earlier. And he was showing me this game that he did. And so it's just like, I'm able to find what you like.
I don't want to cut you off, but here's the thing. In the future, your children are going to be making hundreds of thousands of dollars and not be millionaires, because in the next 20 to 50 years, STEM, science, technology, English, and mathematics, or engineering, mathematics, along with English and a few other subjects that will be held on from the education system. They're throwing away fine arts and music. Just to let you know, they're throwing away fine arts, music, physical education, and a few other ones. This is what they're going to implement and phase out in the next 10 years. This is their goal. They only want to keep STEM to keep up with Russia and China and everybody else who are. So that means I don't know where our children are going to get that. I'm just going off of me being I'm seeing it. Like, you're phasing out fine arts, music, band, everything else like that from schools. Like, so you can tell, like, as Black people, we need to get the jump. Like, I understand everything that you just said, Queen. I'm 1000%. My thing is, how do we get the jump on this as Black people? We've been hearing about STEM for so long. But how do we get the jump on it now?
Yep. Yes. Oh, I like how people someone this I forgot, was it Lakeisha? If I'm pronouncing your name wrong, please forgive me. She just said a really beautiful comment. She's like, Black children are not meant to be the classroom, which I highly agree, especially if you have if you're fire or air dominant, or is it in your learning? So in your Mercury or in your third house is how you learn. The early teachings of learning. If you're fire and air, hell no. Sitting down, that's where they think that we have ADD. Yes, food does play a part in it. Please hear me. Food does play a part in it. However, I have a son, my 7-year-old, again, his rising is Sagittarius. If you know anything about freaking Sagittarius, they're the horses. Like it's an archer, but it's a horse. It's a wild horse.
My mom's a Sagittarius.
He runs, it's everything, I kid you not, is fast paced. And then you add his learning style, Mercury and Gemini, he gets bored easily. So I actually had to tell one of his facilitators, they're like, oh, he's not paying attention, he's a disruption. And I kid you not, ask Niame. I went up there and I sat and I observed, and I was like, because he is bored. You have to like engage with him. So what we did, I had him make a club. They're allowed to do clubs at the homeschool co-op for chess. And like it has helped him, but also to put him, I like how you talked, Terry, how you were talking about MMA. Like I am slowly finding in the MMA where we live, or mostly capoeira because it's African, roots.
Oh,
like I need to put him in that.
If you do capoeira, you would be one of my best friends. I know a lot about capoeira.
You know why? Because Pele, he's one of my favorite soccer players, and he's the one who incorporated. So people talk about, David Beckham, but David Beckham himself has paid homage to our ancestor Pele, because Pele's the one who introduced all those beautiful kicks. And I know Kofi knows.
That's all BJJ. That's all Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu right there, and he's from Brazil.
Thank you. I'm highly big on when it comes to physical education, and the reason why is because I have strong Virgo energy, so I'm big on fitness and health.
Fortunately, Queen, me to tell you this, I would tell you this, and this is me being a substitute teacher. There's 3 to 4 methods of teaching as teachers that we have to implement and utilize according to our students. So you should know that there's visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and physical. Am I right? You should know auditory means that you can hear things. You don't have to really see. Visual people, they can see things. Kinesthetic, I got to be around you. But physical, I literally have to touch you, like see, right, like show you on the paper. But those are the 4 methods of teaching styles that are implemented right now in classrooms. And, like those are like, these have been implemented since the 70s, when we go through schools and everything. Those are the 4 major ones. So I just wanted to let you know, like, that's what we as teachers, what we're actually, we're taught and, to do. So I just want to let you know that.
Well, yeah, so that's the thing. It's like, no offense, I'm going to take it there. So that's the white man. The white man has taught us the 4 different, and I'm not saying that's wrong. They just summed it up of the 12 different energies that our ancestors have been knowing for years. Does that make sense? So yes, because we're not just one thing. Like that's just like when it comes to, that's another topic at a different day that I would love to talk to like Shay Love and Blue about, when it comes to femininity. Femininity, it's just a freaking spectrum, just like masculinity. So like some people, like one of my boys, my 5-year-old, he's very caring, he's very loving, he's a natural at being nurturing. So that means, look, based off of his chart, he will be some sort of a doctor or a veterinarian. Like that's just who he is. So me as a mother, I'm not gonna be like, oh, you need to toughen up, you need to do this. Don't get me wrong. He knows, like I'm teaching him boundaries. I tell him it's okay to tell your brother no, because your brother, he beats on some slick shit, like for real. And be like, nah, he knows how to use you because he has such a strong ego. And there's nothing wrong with that. He just needs to learn how to balance it. So what I'm saying is just like when it comes to learning, and I love the emotional component because going back to that comment of that sister about the Black kids, our Black boys, you know this, Terry, and Blue, he's smart. Like our Black boys were seen as aggressors. Okay, there's a reason. Why are they? They're fucking bored. They're stereotypical. Like, you're telling him he's not smart. You think he's dumb, especially when it comes to math and reading, because it's not done at home. Why is it not done at home? Because we're too focused on what we're going to eat.
Queen, look at me. I'm seen as one of the most dangerous things out here in Orange County. And I have a college degree. Hold on. I got a college degree right there. I'm a substitute teacher. I'm seen as, how am I dangerous? How am I dangerous?
Exactly. I know, but just looking at you, God forbid if you don't smile. God forbid you do not smile. And so, okay, so taking all that, so you guys know,
because I don't got no teeth missing. I don't got no teeth missing.
But that's the thing. It's like, okay, so, and a lot of the parents that I help when it comes to school stuff, I always look at the emotional before the educational, because science has proven that children between the ages of 0 and 7 are more right brain dominant. Like, you please research it. Like, it's beautiful. So, and someone in the chat, which was really good, they just said that we live in a white society where they only care about left brain. Thank you for saying that. That is true. So that's why we are so collectively stunted emotionally, especially our Black boys. They don't know how to channel it. If they do, no offense, it's either through pumping, or it's through aggression as a collective. I'm not saying the unicorn or, the exception. I'm saying as we collective.
Now, we've been raised to not show no emotion, don't shed no tears.
Oh, yes, don't cry.
Try to shoot people but this is what the media and this is what society entertainment, this is what they continue to promote and push on us. This is why all these channels, you keep putting The Baby, you keep putting Meg Thee Stallion, you keep putting all these other people trying to influence, the youth. And then now look at them. Look how crazy they are now. They're talking about YOLO. You only live once. You only but what? We never even thought about this in the 80s or the 90s. Like, who is coming up with these slogans and this lifestyle?
That was Drake with his little Scorpio ass. But anyways,
don't forget Rick Ross. Rick Ross was also in that too.
Yes, but that's the whole. That's the emotional thing. Is that where I really, really love? Like I said before, when it comes to women and this abortion thing, like, okay, let's get back to topic. It's like, you have to heal, sister. Heal deeply. Heal at the root. And the root means it's ancestral stuff too. Because I kid you not, a lot of stuff we subconsciously repeat of what our mothers, or maybe not our mother. It could be our grandmother. It could be a great auntie. And that's why when you go to the doctors or when you go to a massage therapist, they ask you for your history, your family history. There's a reason why. And so it's all about like healing at the root. And some of it, it's like, okay, I need to unpluck some of this ish so I could bear good fruit, meaning our children. And so I could be a better parent, so I could be a better guardian, whatever term you want to use. I could be a better me, I could be a better I am, so I could help the collective and we could be a strong we are. And so I guess that's my thing with Black women. It's like, just heal. There's other ways that we could get around this, because this is not our fight. And for our children, I've always do hashtags like protect the children, but protecting them also means like they're thinking. Because, like you said with the music, we're getting bombarded. Even with the women, they think to me, they're on this, they're Suge Avery. They're on this Suge Avery paradigm. Like, this is my body, I'm free and liberated. Because why? A lot of our mothers were oppressed and repressed sexually. I get it.
Right.
But this ain't it either, baby, because there's always consequences. That's the law, right? That's one of the universal laws. That's ma'at. It's all about balance. And so yeah, like I love astrology, and Yame gets on my case about it. But to me, it's all about energies. To how can I best get to know the other person at their core? Because there's different, like what Brother Boo was saying, that there's different houses and there's other aspects of because like a Sun Taurus could be completely different to another Sun Taurus because they have a different moon aspect, or the moon's in a different house and all that stuff. So sorry. So what you said, so I was saying what you wanted to know about the Pluto, just look at your chart to see where the Pluto is.
It's in my 12th. It's actually in my 12th house.
Okay, so you should have a lot. The 12th house is that's traditionally ruled by Pisces, and that's a Neptune energy. So you should be getting a lot of dreams, intuition, anything that you tried, like any addictions. And addictions doesn't have to be like hardcore, like sex and drugs, but whatever things that have been dealt with is going to come up, and you're going to have to deal with it. Whatever is in your subconscious. And it's also like spirituality. So you might be getting downloads spiritually. You might be changing some of your spiritual beliefs, because Pluto is all about change. It's death and rebirth. Just think of
I need her. I'm a Libra. I love education. Can you help me out? I don't know what the hell I am. I'm a Libra.
So just think about like, okay, subconscious. Oh, and enemies. Bro, enemies are going to come up for you. People that you didn't think was an enemy, Blue, the creator is going to show you. Be like, nah, this mother effer ain't for you. So
it's funny you say that.
So
that is funny. Yeah.
I want to say first of all, shout out to Blue and shout out to the Queen right here, dude. Not to you guys.
This was this is Inyame's wife.
Oh shoot! This is Inyame Ubuntu.
Yeah.
Yep, sir.
The dark side, the Sith Lord. Oh, shout out to the Sith.
Yeah,
Lord.
it's the Sith.
Oh,
it's
shout
the
out.
Sith
I didn't know that you were his. Hey, shout out to Inyame. Tell him I said he knows who I am.
I was thinking it, and I was kind of like,
I didn't know. You know me. I don't know anything.
Yeah, that's why I didn't make it clear. I did say House of Ubuntu, but I ain't make that clear.
Shout out to Inyame. He's one of my OGs. Shout out to the Sith Lord. If he ever jumps on, we've dialogued before several times, and you already know, Blue. No, I'm just getting ready for Cal State Long Beach. I'm finishing up real quick at class right now, but no, you know, with me, I never mind jumping on a panel with you, giving up my dialogue or my points of views. But I want to say shout out to the Queens for even jumping on. Like, this was actually a great knowledgeable stream. Everybody, you guys got to save this. This was some real knowledge that got brought out today. Blue, you had a really good stream today. You better save this one.
Yeah,
this
definitely.
And shout out to you, Queen. And like I said, whenever you want to jump on, I'll try to jump on. Or I always follow Blue. I'll always be listening in. I want to say shout out to everybody and have a great day. I actually feel good about this. I like when we have these kind of dialogues as people. Now it lets me go to class feeling on, like, you know, that high in a sense, like that good mode. You know what I mean? Because we get to actually dialogue and get these kind of things out, which sometimes we don't normally get to. So I want to say shout out to the Queen, first of all, and of course, Blue, thank you for providing the platform. And I want to say shout out to everybody. And everybody be safe, guys.
Definitely. You too, God. Peace. Yeah, I got to get a full breakdown of my, of my natal chart. I've been trying to kind of understand everything, the houses and the degrees and the planets, the whole alignment. As far as I know, I know my sun is a Capricorn, my moon is a Taurus, and my ascendant is Scorpio. So I definitely got a trivial.
Okay. If you could send that to, do you have his email?
Oh yeah, you know what I do? I do.
I could put it in the back chat. You know what? I'll just put mine in the back chat, and then if you send me yours, and then like I love looking at children's. Like, that is my favorite, because to me it's like, how do I help parents to like raise healthy individuals so we could do less damage to them.
Right.
And if Shay is okay, like I love doing it. Like, to me, it's like, it's one of my hobbies. Cause
definitely.
So
That's something I would I'm definitely been into. I've been, locked in on it especially over the last few months. So yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Blue, for the space and for allowing me to talk.
Oh, no problem. I already know it. I appreciate it every time y'all come through. It's always a blessing. So,
Peace and love to your family.
All right. Peace to the House of Ubuntu. Yeah, shout out to the Sith Lord and the wife of the Sith Lord. Y'all already know what time it is. So, yeah. I don't even know if I really even need to go any further. I think shit. I mean, this is probably one of our better episodes that we didn't had. I think we had a chance to hear hear the sister Juju out. We got a chance to hear the sister Tanisha out. Okay, cool. Yeah, let me get that. We had a chance to hear everybody out, and so even a couple of the fellas. I think she made some valid points, and I think when we having this discussion in general, I think that we need to be less worried about what's going on around us and more so worried about what's going on with us. And I think the more that we control what's going on with us, the more that we'll be able to control what's going on around us. And most of the issues, and a lot of times when we have this discussion, is usually I think both sides tend to have the discussion from a radical standpoint. I think of course, I think we know, barring outside of any other type of wild situations or that may occur that's out of the ordinary. Outside of those type of situations, we're gonna have to really get into a serious place of like healing. And I think we pretty much talked about this every day. It's not going to be something that you're going to be able to look outward for. You're going to have to find love on the inside first. I think people, they find that very cliche, and they find that as they take it kind of as a joke, and then the next day they go out and make the same mistake. They're going to make the same mistake. You are going to have, and this isn't just for people who are getting ready to enter into sexual relationships or intimate relationships or relationships with the opposite sex, but people who are also getting into friendships. Think about the friends that you had when you first started making friends. Majority of them are not around anymore. Shout out to Shalama. Appreciate you in the building. Like, think about that. Afro-Asiatic, definitely appreciate you in the building also, God. A lot of people are steady. Like I said, we're getting caught up in is whose fault is it? And there's not enough of what can I do to make my environment or my situation better. Yeah, that's right. Discipline ourselves in this time. God will put you back on track. And I think part of that discipline is going to take some, people meditate. Like, people aren't really trying to go there with themselves. It's easier to go to that place and fight with other people. It's easier to kind of rely on the ego for anger and to lash out or for revenge or whatever else it is. But nobody really wants to go in and examine the ego. And this was one of the episodes that I had caught a Sister Soul when it was talking about the ego is not something to be destroyed, but it's something to understand. It's something to be controlled. At some point, these are aspects that have to be controlled, because the mistakes that we are making are things that are based on either things that have bruised our egos, or these are things that make our egos feel good. That's right. That's right. And it's tough because nobody really wants to, like I said, I mean, we've been programmed to be afraid of the dark. And when you know that's the place that you're gonna have to go in order to get answers, or in order to actually fight, to meet yourself, to actually have that fight, because you need to have that fight. You need to get control over that. You have to get control over your ego. You can't continue to allow other people to be able to control that. Other people can't continue to be able to control how you feel about yourself. How you should move. And a lot of the people who are trying to tell you this are wrong. They're telling you things about yourself based on where they think that you should be, based on whatever social construct they think that you should fit in, whatever box they're trying to put you in. A lot of the times they're wrong. But, you know, you're not only is the ego not something that you're not controlling it, but it's also not being protected. And so it's easily bruised. It's easily bruised. So we're in a tough situation. I think the best way for us to get out of the what we're looking at and what we've seen today, I mean, it's only one way. We're going to have to rely on each other. I think we've seen what this society deems women are worth. I think that's a very clear indication what they believe that women are worth. And I've already talked about this, the difference between things being a problem for you and things being your culture. Yeah, this is a part of this culture. This doesn't have to be, this is a problem for us. This does not have to be a part of our culture. It just doesn't. Though this is a problem, this does not have to be a part of our culture. So stop combining yourself with this. Stop pretending like you had to say. We didn't have no say-so in this. We don't have a say-so on what country they choose to go bomb, or invade, or where they're gonna steal resources from, or what they're gonna put the minimum wage at, or what houses are deemed, or what area is deemed inhabitable, and what area is deemed desirable, and what area is deemed undesirable. We don't have any, how much taxes is going to be taken out, how much of the taxes are the poor going to be paid. Those are things that are outside of our control. You can't control yourself. And the quicker that we control ourselves, the quicker we'll be able to control the environment that we create. But the reason why you move in an autopilot and you're not moving like an actual human being is because you haven't went in there and fought with that damn animal that's inside of you. See, they planted an animal inside of your heart. And so you gotta get in there and have that wrestle. You gotta wrestle with it. You're gonna have to. It's a fight. But you're a human. And that's why they use these code words and these different words to try to activate the program that they tried to put inside of you. It got to be activated. So you have to use words like alpha and beta and attach yourself to animalistic behaviors and start talking about yourself as if you're some fucking lion in the damn jungle. You a gorilla. We long past that. We're long past that. The language that we use to even describe ourselves and that we put out into the universe is a part of the reason why. What we get back is the treatment of somebody who's non-human. Simple. This is of somebody who is non-human. So it deems we end up being or we end up actually receiving some of these same results. That's the force we let out. How much of a dog you is. Well, you believe you're a dog. You put that out into the universe, and now they treat you like a dog. Society looks at you like a dog. Society carries you around on a leash like a dog. We have to change the way that we look at politics, government, establishment, structure, infrastructure. We have to change the way that we look at that. We can't think about building something and you got the foundation of America on your mind. That ain't gonna cut it. That's not gonna cut the check. You're going down the same direction that we've always went down. And you're gonna end up doing the same thing to other people or to your own people that they done to us. See, not only does an ideology come with this type of lifestyle and this type of living or whatnot, but also a spirit comes with it. There is also a spirit that comes with it. We got to stop accepting that. You can't continue to take on that program. We're not dogs. We're not animals. We're not beasts. We're not monsters. We're not none of that. We're humans. Real humans. Different emotions, different feelings, different aspects. We play different roles. Some are more aggressive than others. Some are more sensitive than others. Some are more loving and caring than others. Some have more compassion. But none of these things are to be taken advantage of. And the sad part is that we've gotten to a point where in 2022, our rhetoric is based on demonizing people who had so much love and so much compassion. You know that you now see yourself as an animal for the simple fact that you believe that that was a negative trait. Anytime you come to a standpoint where too much love or too much compassion or you just wanting to live and be free, that becomes the issue, you know you've gotten your ass whooped. No, it wasn't the person that imposed violence on you. It was your fault because, hey, you had no intentions to fight. You weren't thinking about global domination. You weren't thinking about controlling everybody's water supply, resources, where they're able to lay their head. You weren't thinking about building banks in order to actually get people to trade in their resources in order to give them paper that wasn't. This ain't like, come on. You're not thinking about manipulating people because you ain't thinking on a foul level like that. And anytime we holding people to a standard of where, oh, this is the issue with us is that we don't think foul enough. We're not dirty enough. We're not willing to go to some of the that's an issue. And we're losing our way. this is a problem for us, but this does not have to become our culture. It doesn't. The images that they show on TV today of whether it's black women or black men or whatever it is, the black children, those can be a problem for us all that they want to, but they don't have to be our culture. They don't have to be. The rappers, the disrespectful rappers, the ones that only want to talk about trap or whatever it is that they may be speaking on that's in a negative manner, that can exist as a problem for us. But that never has to become a culture. Where it becomes a problem, and how it ends up, you want like examples of it becoming culture is when you go to look at how different people are treated relatively in places like Afghanistan. Or in places like, you know, in places like China, certain stigmas and certain things that the women have to live up to in these different cultures in order to have some sort of value. This is where a lot of these places, these things tend to stem from. And notice that anytime they start talking about a woman outside of value, anytime she gives birth in these other cultures, she loses value. That's a detriment to our society. You cannot have a culture where the mother of the culture loses value because she's a mother. No, that should be the standard of the culture, because that's what is going to not only preserve the culture, but preserve the people. So the mother has to be the standard. That's got to be what you look up to. Somebody that, you know, the pregnant image, that's something that has to be looked up to. That's something that we, you know, people, you know what I mean? That's something that has to hold a different regard when it comes down to our culture. It can't be them losing value. And then, and a lot of that is based on sexual perversion. That's why when they talk about the value being gone, a lot of times that's all it's dealing with is sexual perversion. And so because of this and how they actually feel, they want to, you know, you end up in these societies where they kind of, whatever insecurities that they have built up in their cultures, they superimpose it on, you know, the women and the children in the society. Yeah, that's a problem for us, but that does not have to be our culture. That doesn't have to be our culture. And that's why the first, and it starts with dehumanizing any human. You can't dehumanize any sort of human, any kind of human. You can't do it. The moment you do that, okay. The moment that you do that, you instantly put yourself in a trick bag. You don't have you don't have time. Yeah, you got to rebuke that spell. We got to rebuke that spell. And you know, and they kind of want that because, you know, and that's the dangerous part of them trying to add. They try to add so much value in these other cultures to virginity. Notice that. That's what they do. In these other cultures that are in opposition to our aboriginal cultures or our original cultures, those cultures, what they do is that they tend to change like the value system for the society of women, where it gets centered around the virgin. The virgin is the one that's highly protected. The virgin is the one that is set at a high regard and is highly valued. But the mother, we got to check her situation out. What exact situation caused her to become a mother? Who's standing with? Nah. And that comes from dehumanizing people. So now you get the human dehumanized, the women dehumanized, the children are being dehumanized. And you know it because you hear people talking about, how much these kids are going to cost you yearly. They got it down to a number. Excuse me. They got it down to a number. Excuse me. They got it down to a number. They know exactly what they're worth now. And so they check that off of their list and say, nah, that's not worth it. I'm good. So people, we can run away from whatever games that we want to play. But that's right. The temple is number one. We can play the game the way that we want to play. And, but at the end of the day, we can't talk about the issues and talk about fixing the problems that we have and still also try to coincide that with blending in with this society and trying to go along with the get along in this society. Because at the end of the day, the society, the culture of the society, the lust of the society, all of that is the main issues those are our main problems. Every day the society is telling us how we should see each other, how we should view love, sex, family, friends, how we should deal with anger, how we should handle conflict. All of these different things are being dictated by the society to the point to where now you blame yourself for not being animalistic enough to keep yourself out of this situation. No. We can't have it both ways. A sacrifice has to be made. And it's funny when I say a lot of times when we talk about agapic energy and I talk about the love and the sacrifice issue, and a lot of people don't really want to talk about that. But one of the tribes that they talk about a lot was the Kru, or the Kowal tribe in Liberia. And what made them so crazy was that they was known for being so fierce, and that people didn't even want to capture them and just went on ahead and had them free, mainly because they weren't no good. If they ever got captured and you tried to make them a slave, they just killed themselves. They just killed themselves. They weren't going to allow a generation to be raised behind enemy lines. They weren't going to do that. They weren't going to allow themselves to be put in certain predicaments. At some point in time, we have got to develop a Kru mentality. We have to. There's a fear of that. I think at one time, in a debate I had, somebody asked me, so you think we should have what do you think we should have did when we got on the boat? All fucking jumped off the boat. What do you mean what we should have did? We should have all died. Right there, nigga. We'll come back. I believe all of us got some sort of story or some sort of belief system in our spirituality of resurrection. nigga, we would have been back. We would have been back. How many fucking ships you think of Africans needed to jump off before they would have stopped? Because you're not finna kill us all. So you just keep wasting cargo ships. It not only just killing us, everybody on the fucking ship is gone. We taking the whole ship down, everybody included, nigga. Every time you go and send out a ship, okay, I don't care if we lose 2 million. Does that keep the 50 million today out of this situation? Yes. And we wouldn't even have to lose on 2 million. They would have quit after a few thousand. They would have had to go and find somebody to fuck else. Yeah, that's the fact, Juju. That's definitely a fact. So at some point, we're gonna have to get to a stance to where we start seeing ourselves as currently being selfish and not being willing to make the necessary changes or the necessary moves in not only our lives and the way that we live, but whether our lives need to be put on the line or not for future generations. We're waiting on them to fight our fight. We want them to go through the ugly. Why wouldn't we take upon the ugly part of the struggle? Why would we continue to push that off on the next generation and the next generation? If we really loved our great-great-grandkids, then we set this bitch on fire right now. We waiting on our grandkids, their great-grandkids to have to live through the smoke. At some point in time, we're gonna have to make a leap of faith that's meant for 4 generations out at a minimum. Like, that's got to be the mindset. We won't see the results of this at least for 4 generations, but we finna fucking make this move. You gotta be willing to do that. But nobody really wants to. But it's okay. Because it's a fire that begins to get burned. And eventually you're going to have to go and put that fire out. Or it's going to get out of control. I don't think they could put the fire out. And I think it's something that's already out of control. I think if we look at it from our point of view, it's something that we need to learn how to control, how to harness, how to use. We showed so many, like we have so many different examples of power on our own. Shout out to All Heart, Grit and Grind. Appreciate you in the building, guy. Yeah. Yeah. I think that's another thing. I think that, you know, that's a major aspect we're going to have to get back comfortable. We're going to have to get back comfortable with some of our spell work. And not only that, we're going to have to get knowledgeable about it. Because like I said, a lot of us open up the book of Psalms, which I think by now most of us know as a whole fucking book of spells. And we have no idea what the shit means or what we're calling out or who we, like, none of that. We just have the shit open, be reading it. and singing and all of that. So these are things we're going to have to get aspect, like some sort of knowledge of, control of, you know, at least a novice understanding of it. You can't just be having the fucking book of Psalms open and singing goddamn spells and you don't know what the hell you doing. What we saying, like, I think Lex always says, like, you talk about the Bible being like fucking in a shotgun in the hand of a baby. Like, it's literally what it looks like. What it looks like. So we're gonna have to break down. That's something that I think I have to go into. I don't know if y'all remember, Asar M. Khan actually had a debate on it where he beat up, I think he had beat up Anonymous Hebrew. I forgot who he beat up. Beat up somebody on it. He was able to show word for word the book of Psalms coming out of the Egyptian spell book. Shout out to Domo, appreciate you in the building, God. So yeah, that'll definitely be something I have to get into on another day. But I think in general, we just got to be careful on not getting caught up in this type of fight, right? In this sort of not only in this kind of fight, but making sure that we not getting caught up in the wrath of this, right? Because there is a wrath that comes with this. When we talk about 99 years to these women and this and that, like, that puts a lot of women who are in poor situations, who we already know most poor people get the worst representation as far as the court of law, or pretty much in any form of the system, but just talking about the court of law. So you're talking about having a public pretender prove that you actually had a miscarriage and that you did not abort your baby. And that's to keep you from doing 99 years? No. That's not going to fly. That's not going to be able to fly. You know what I'm saying? That's a dangerous situation, deeming how these things go on. But this, once again, kind of deems to when people go, well, why don't you create a hospital or something like that? Why haven't black men created a hospital, or black people don't have one? Well, I think this is one of those situations, scenarios where it wouldn't fucking matter. It wouldn't. And you want to know why? Hold on. And okay. And the reason why they even do that in the first place. Actually, I lost my point. No. Y'all go ahead. That's mine. So I even had lost my point. So yeah, even and just in general, it's it's one of those situations, I think, where they kind of try to, they kind of like where we're going to kind of have to like stop how much we rely on necessarily the system. I think that's where Tanisha was able to make a strong point on us being less dependent of the system. We talk about having black hospitals and different things like that. That doesn't change the current situation that we in, for just the simple fact of you still have to abide by the same rules of the system. You're still going to have to abide by those same rules, the stipulations. And that's what I be meaning by you have to get out, stop thinking about solving our problems through the lens of the same issue, of the same system that's creating your issue. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. Like you can't. We want the same things, especially here in this system, but then we asking for different results. What you need in order to open up a black hospital is crazy. Number one, what you're gonna have to go through, the codes that you're gonna have to that you're gonna have to have passed, all of these different things, and mind you, all of this is set up by the people that you got to go through to get all of these things is set up by people who don't want you to have a fucking hospital of your own in the first place. No, that's because the only way that you can see caring for your health is through the lens of infrastructure. You got to stop looking at yourself like that. We didn't have a whole system for people who were just strictly talking about you know, like where you had to go strictly to a hospital. No, we had a system of people who knew how to heal and who knew how to do root work. And most you can say in most matriarchs, they was able to keep these different systems alive. Not only of how you keep yourself healthy spiritually, but also how you keep yourself healthy physically. But these things have been kind of, you know, pushed to the back burner, right? And then meanwhile, we want to get into the same infrastructure that attacks pregnant black women. The infrastructure, because it's not, and a lot of people say, well, we need more black. No, it's not. The idea of how a hospital functions is just not good for pregnant people or people in general. It's just not good. It's built on a system where the people in there have no fucking real relation to you. They have no emotional ties to you, and they're looking at a clock. You don't know if the person is doing overtime. You don't know if the person is behind on a mortgage. You don't know none of that. All of these aspects get played into when you talk about having that sort of infrastructure in the first place. That's no place to birth a baby. A community, like your family, a family is how babies are to be birthed in the first place. So even thinking that we would create that same sort of structure or infrastructure and it would make much of a difference, no, it doesn't. It doesn't make a difference. Because just the way that in general the outside world is set up, the care that you need, people don't really, you're not getting the best people in there that are there because they care about mothers and that they care about babies anymore. That ship is fucking sailed. You got people in there for a check. You got people in there for a check. That's why when people talk about how great capitalism makes things and all of that, like, hell no. I want to do it in there committing open heart surgery because he loves to do open heart surgery. Not because he needs to get a check. I don't need him looking at the clock. I just don't. I don't need him looking at the clock. Counting down until he get off. I think he'll leave a pair of scissors in me or something. Like I need you to want to do what you do out of love. We see it happening every day in the daycare system. People aren't watching people's kids in daycare systems anymore because they love kids. They there for a fucking check. And so they leaving people babies in the back of the damn bus. Leaving people babies on field trips. Hiding the bodies of people babies. hitting the babies with all kind of different stuff. So it's multiple aspects when you talk about how this society and how we view not only ourselves, but how we view our participation with each other. We have to be able to look at our interaction with each other outside of this current structure and outside of this infrastructure. Period. That's it. So, with that being said, y'all already know, if you were listening to this together, we are Babel. Let's build. Special shout out to everybody that came through today. I definitely appreciate you. I'll probably be going live in another hour or so. I got something on capitalism I need to bring out. So if everybody's still in the mix and still in the mood, I'll be cranking up another show. Definitely. And actually, I'm gonna do a part 2 to this because I actually got another video to bring out on this. It's about 20 minutes, I think, about 17 minutes or so. So I probably will do a Roe versus Wade part 2, but I'll say that for tomorrow. Probably tonight I'll go ahead and go into capitalism and chop up some of that type of stuff. So yeah, if I don't do that tonight, well, first thing in the morning, y'all already know what time it is. Same old, same old. Like I said, if you've been listening to this together, we are Babel. Special praise to the most beautiful goddess of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Stemya, whose image is the most beautiful, Whoopi Goldberg. Shout out to everybody who came through today. Shout out to everybody who hit the panel. The House of Ubuntu. Shout out to Juju. Juju hit the panel today. Definitely. We brought Terry Smoot out of hiding. Nigga Terry Smoot hit the panel today, so that was a shout out to you. Shout out to, we got a new member of the Babel Builders. Shout out to Lakeisha. I definitely appreciate you in the building. You already know, all heart and grit. Appreciate you. Domo, Keish came through. Shalimar, Afro-Asiatic. So yeah, we had a nice little show up today. We had a lot of people be able to get their input. Definitely, we want to continue to be able to do that, and hopefully we'll have more of these to come. So yeah, y'all already know, man, how we gonna get up out of here. You got to put the nail in the coffin on them niggas.
Ryu, this is crazy.
Yeah. Watch. Y'all already know what time it is, Watch.
Tell them keep playing dumb like ain't nobody a witness. Swear to God on my mama, everybody gon' get an eye. Everybody that's with them, cause everybody I lit them out. Keep playing dumb like ain't nobody a witness. Swear to God on my mama, everybody gon' get an eye. Everybody that's with them, cause everybody I lit them out. Niggas can't stand on shit, we living stressed out. Finna get a medal of honor, we bringin' facts out. And you get stepped on every time you step out. You not a stepper where you from, you a step down. And stop reppin' where you from, you a let down. Can't be seen where you from, you keep your head down. That fat nigga mention my name, I'm breaking lead out. RIP another boss nigga, I think he bled out. He ain't gon' make it, I'm taking another head count. COVID so hot, I keep him from leaving beds out. Niggas self-snitching on live, bringing the fans out. They the last nigga took a O talking about how he dead now. You don't know your life too short, that had me stressed out. Somewhere he took a wrong turn, I on the death route. Try the little boy yard blue, I bring the chef out. Put a whole drum on the 9, that bitch attack now. Keep playing dumb like ain't nobody a witness. Swear to God on my mama, everybody gon' get it out. Everybody that's with them cause everybody I hit them up. Keep playing dumb like ain't nobody a witness on my mama. Swear to God, everybody gon' get it out. Everybody that's with them cause everybody I lit them out. You can cry all you want, but I don't do tissue. So the guy you don't get through if you let Blue get you. I put Nino on that mag, let my boo get you. Making Playboy moves with that new issue. When you surrounded by them snakes, you don't know who bit you. And that's the problem with you fakes, you don't know who hit you. And if I'm trying to make it shake, I don't care who with you. Call me Bruce MBD Sam, I got 2 pistols. AOI, a bunch of lanes, don't let that shoe fit you. And you better keep them tight, don't let that shoe fit loose. I can't miss, everything got shoe hit you. I ain't friendly, ain't shit about Blue being cool. And you know I don't forget I'm like an elephant. Ayo in the I really irrelevant, assed out, and we know we lacking intelligence. Keep them out your circle before you regret you let them in.
Ryu, this is crazy.